Hello, this is Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and in this video I'm going to test three different situations flying in the house. And the first one will be just flying in the normal conditions, and the second test will be flying with the air conditioning or running the furnace and the draft that it causes in the house. And then the third example is going to be flying underneath of a ceiling fan. So let's get started. Here you see I'm taking off from my table in my office, and it's going to jump backwards. And the reason I believe it did that is because I've got extra weight on the back, since I've got the little keychain light shining down, which gives it a better opportunity to see what's below in dark areas. So I take off and I go through my office door, and I'm going to be using my right stick more than my left stick once I get around the corner here. And the reason for that is because the left stick just changes direction, but when you're going down a passageway like this, most of the time you're going to keep it from hitting the sides. And by the way, I'm going to skip the tour of the bedroom because, well, anyway, and there's my sweetheart. This is coming out of the bedroom. She's doing laundry today, and she's working hard while I'm playing. So here you can see I'm going around the corner, so I'm using my left stick, and I'm following it around just for information of what it's doing while I'm flying through here. Now here's another passageway, and you'll notice as soon as I get into passageway, it's going to speed up. And in a house, there's always a little bit of draft, even when the furnace isn't running. So now we're in the living room, and it's a big open space, and we have some black furniture. And so right now, as you can see in the lower right, it's kind of over a dark chair, and that bottom camera needs something to fixate on in order to hold it in place. Well, anyway, so gonna head back to my office, and this was good. This was fun. I enjoyed it, and of course it's good practice. You can't really hurt anything. You blow all the papers off the tops of the tables and stuff, but you can't hurt the drone very much. I don't see how you could. And then also you can't damage much in the house with that little guy. But he doesn't weigh much, and that's how come that there's my sweetie again. It doesn't weigh much. And I believe that's the reason that it wants to go backwards when it first takes off until it catches its breath. Also, when it first takes off, it's over a white tabletop after it moves away from the landing pad, and then it has to find its location. And it's looking around. It's like going into a dark room at night that's got ceiling light, and you're feeling around for where the light switch is hanging on a chain. Well, when he starts out, his camera on the very bottom starts looking for things to fixate on so he can stabilize himself. So we're coming back into my office, and I'm just going to go through the process of landing here. And what I do is I just, where I've got a landing pad, I just look straight down and until the landing pad gets centered in the center of the picture frame. Now, if you're going to fly in the house, and especially if you have pets, I wouldn't recommend landing on the floor. Taking off or landing, use a tabletop or something. All right, here's part two. We're going to take off. I've got the furnace fan running, and like I said, right above the door as I go out the door here, there's going to be a draft through my door, and it's going to be trying to draw the air up in through the ceiling. So I'm going kind of careful here because I'm not sure what's going to. This is the first time I've ever flown with the furnace running, so I don't have any idea what it's going to do. Now, I tried running it a while back, and the furnace was running, so I just shut it right down because I wasn't too familiar with the drone. But it's a stable little drone. I mean, it's as long as it's got something to look at on the floor, it stays in place. So we're going to skip the bedroom tour again. And we're going into the kitchen. And in a big room, the draft doesn't seem to make any difference. Now, as we go through a passageway, because there's a current coming through here. It's actually headed against us. We're flying against the draft, and so we didn't quite go quite as fast through there as we did the first time without the furnace running. And so in a big room, no, not much of a problem, as the airflow isn't as noticeable. Now we're going to get an airflow behind us as the air is coming out of here, heading back to the intake room, and so that you can see where it just speeded up there. Plus, the more I practice flying in the house, the easier it gets and the better I get at flying around. So, but I think a lot of the reason it's moving so fast is because the air is flowing into the. Oh yeah, we're going to skip the bedroom again. It's flowing down this alley, and if you noticed, at the very top of the ceiling there was the intake. So. Well, we made it through without running into anything, even though there's a draft flowing in the house. So we'll come around here and bring it in and land. And then the third test is to fly in a room where there's a ceiling fan going. So we'll get this one landed. And once again, I just look straight down, fly over the landing pad, and bring it down. You'll notice it doesn't want to fly over the white area. It's real timid about, because it can't see. Its little camera on the bottom is looking down and can't see anything to fixate on. And so it's a little difficult. If you have some kind of a plaid material or something that you can sit on a tabletop, you'll have a lot more ease at taking off and landing. All right, this is the third and final test. What we're going to do now is we're going to fly into the living room where there's a ceiling fan, and we're going to see what happens when we fly beneath a ceiling fan. So here we come into the living room. And by the way, the furnace is not running at this point in time. There's no draft. And we'll come in here and we'll turn around, and so we can see where the fan is. And by the way, all of this is testing. I've never done this before, so I'm being real careful. There's the fan, and I'm going to switch it on here in a minute. And once it gets up to speed, we'll fly under it. And there's a black couch, as you can see there in the lower right-hand corner. I don't want to fly over the black couch much, because I'm going to probably lose, it makes it difficult for the drone to stay in one place. All right, looks like it's up to speed. And let's fly down here and we'll get underneath of it. Trying to get away from that couch. A solid black or solid white base beneath the drone, it makes it difficult for it to hold its position. All right. Now we're going to go up when a ceiling fan runs, it draws air from the sides of the room up to the ceiling, and then draws the air over to the ceiling fan itself and blows it down. And so I was trying to be real careful, because I didn't want this thing to get sucked into the blades. But as it turned out, this test right here, this test worked really well. The ceiling fan didn't make any difference at all. Now, I didn't turn it up high. I'll let somebody else test that part. But the ceiling fan did not affect the stability of the Mavic Mini. So we'll come down and get it down to my level again, and we can see it fly in there. And that concludes the 3 tests of no current in the house, with the furnace or air conditioning running, and with a ceiling fan, which nothing seemed to make any difference. So with that, we know a little bit more about our Mini, and we will say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and God bless.